Coffee Break with me. Woo! Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. How are you today? So today I am here with a review and swatches on the new Tarte Tartelette in Bloom palette. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm one of those people that gets excited but doesn't read things. You know what I mean? Like, I won't read directions, or it's really hard for me to follow certain instructions. That's probably why I'm really bad at baking. I can tear up a kitchen and make like a 9-course meal no problem, but when it comes to baking or desserts, I can't even do like a box cake mix without messing it up. Bible, like I just can't follow directions. So similar to that, when I saw that this palette came out, I didn't find out, research, look up swatches. I didn't do anything. I just impulsively ordered it because I assumed that it was going to be like a Tartelette Part 2, like a second matte palette. When this came out, the whole novelty behind it was a palette designed by tartelettes or inspiring women, and it was all mattes. That was the selling point, an all matte palette. Whoa, the matte trend, you know? And so when this one came out, I was like, heck yeah, a matte palette Part 2. It's not. How many of you thought that? Don't lie. You need to leave me that comment down below and make me feel normal. How many of you thought that it was going to be a matte palette Part 2? I don't know, maybe it was just me, but I hope I'm not alone on this. So I automatically thought that, and when it arrived, I was like, ooh, shiny. So this is the Tartelette in Bloom. It's not a limited edition palette, and although this is not an all matte palette, it did come out sort of as a sequel to this one. You know, the theme around it is tartelettes. How are you a tartelette? What type of person are you? How are you a contributor to this world? You know, so even the names on some of these colors, jet setter, rocker, activist, smarty pants, funny girl. So just like the original tartelette, this is $45. It has 12 exclusive colors, or 12 brand new, never before seen colors. 9 of them are matte, and 3 of them are considered luster. I don't know if I would call them luster as much as magical, delicious goodness, because they are so, look at that. They almost feel like foiled shadows. They're so buttery, but not just the 3 luster shadows. All of the shadows are incredibly soft and buttery. Now you do have to be cognizant that they are pigment rich, so they will be soft, not chalky and not dusty, but they will be soft. So if you're an animal with your shadows, then you will have a little bit of a messy situation going on your palette, maybe your shirt, perhaps even your face, but it's totally worth the fight. They're just soft and creamy and buttery, and they're so easy to blend. I used them today for this sultry, sexy activist, right? No, I used leader. Oh, excuse me. For this leader smoky eye, and I mean, they're so easy to blend. This is a really good beginner's palette, but it's also a really good palette for the expert pro that, you know, is gonna make a killing with this palette. So this palette has the 12 colors. It's 1.5 grams, the same as all of the Naked palettes, including the Smoky. It costs $45, which is different from a Naked palette. Those are $54 or $55. I can't even keep up. All I know is that continues to rise every year. So it is about $10 cheaper. I'm actually really happy with this palette. You know, when the original Tartelette came out, truth be told, I got really excited because what they did was they did a pre-sale. Only certain people were emailed and allowed to purchase it like a month before everyone else. And so we got a first look at it. Not me because I'm a vlogger, just because I would purchase online, and so they sent you the email invitation. And so I got one for me and one for my best friend Samantha, and I got it and I was like, oh my god, it's amazing, it's incredible, an all matte palette, never before seen kind of amazingosity. But ask me how many times I've used it. Probably 3. It's soft, it's buttery, it's creamy. I love the formula of the shadows, but this palette tends to be more cool. It leans more cool, and it has This whole row in the middle is quite purple. Like it's plummy purple, pinkish. And I don't ever wake up and say, I think today I'm gonna do a purpley plum eye. I just don't. And for me, the connotation that I've applied to this palette is it's a cool palette. That's what I think. I automatically, I'm like, oh, my Tartelette is a cool palette, I don't use it. And that's probably one of the reasons why Samantha, it's one of her favorite palettes, because she has cool undertones, she rocks a cool eye like nobody's business. And even though I do cool eye looks, I tend to favor the way I look better with warmer shadows. I'm gonna switch over to showing you guys some swatches and describing the types of colors that they are. There are 12 shades in this palette, 9 of them are matte and 3 of them are lusters. The luster formula is to die for. I mean, the matte formula is incredible as well, but we already know that, but the luster formula is incredible. So we're gonna start from left to right, the top row first. The first row starts with Charmer, an off-white, followed by a warm taupe called Jet Setter. And I'm going to compare this to Max Kid and Gwen Stefani's Anaheim, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be similar to those, which you guys know are my favorite shadows. And then the third one is a luster. This one is called Rocker. It's a shimmering taupe. This is Smoke Show, a black brown, and it's also a matte. The next row starts with Flower Child, a peachy nude matte, then a tan called Smarty Pants. This tan is beautiful. And then we have our second luster in the palette. This one is called Firecracker, a bronze copper. The last color in the second row is called Activist, and this is a dark brown. And then we have the last row. This is Funny Girl, a champagne luster. Then we have Sweetheart, a peach. This is a really beautiful warm brown. Then we have Rebel, a chestnut brown, and Leader, an aubergine. Now let's look at the 3 darkest shades in this palette for a second. This one is described as a black brown. It's called Smoke Show, and it's almost like a cool tone black. And then we have Activist, which is described as a dark brown, and this is like a warm toned light black. And then the last one over here described as an aubergine. Depending on your skin tone, it's really going to show up like a really warm chocolate brown. I wouldn't say it's going to show up aubergine, which tends to be a little bit more purple, but depending on the base that you use, you could definitely play on the purple tones in this shadow. So those are the 12 shadows in this palette. Aren't they beautiful? I love how they really separated it by quads. You can tell it goes from lightest to darkest, lightest to darkest, lightest to darkest. I really hope you guys enjoyed the swatches. You guys got to see, I mean, they're so creamy and so soft. They're those shadows that are so soft, they feel wet. Not wet like spongy, moussey, Play-Doh-y like ColourPop shadows, but just the fact that they're so soft, you're like, this can't be a powder. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, no, there's no way this is a powder. They're soft like that. It's pretty cool. So now if we were to compare one versus the other, you know what the difference is? If you look at them side by side, you're like, oh, well, they're kind of similar. And I would honestly say if you have one, you probably don't need the other one, because I don't see you being able to create that much of a variety of looks. I feel like these are the palettes where you pick your favorites, or you kind of favor the same colors and you gravitate towards them over and over and over again. And they're gonna be colors that you run out of, and then other colors that you rarely ever touch. Now, if you are looking for a palette that is all matte, I say go for the Tartelette palette. It's all 100% matte. I know some women with hooded eyes or more mature in age or whatever tend to shy away from shimmery or metallic shadows. I think anybody can use whatever they want, and there's certain ways of applying them. You know, you don't have to do a metallic all over the lid. You can do like a little pop in the inner corner or just on the corner of your lid. You could even do it on the lower lash line. So if you wanted to do an all matte, obviously you would go for the Tartelette palette, but keep in mind that it is a little bit more plummy, purpley, and it is less cool. It is more cool than warm. If you wanted a palette that has a lot more variety, just for the simple fact that it has those 3 shimmery shadows, or they're not shimmery because there's no glitter to them. They're really like a creamy metallic. So if you wanted a little bit more variety, go for the Tartelette in Bloom. It's not a limited edition palette, but it is exclusive to Ulta and TarteCosmetics.com. But keep in mind that a lot of times what big makeup companies do is they do like a non-compete clause where they'll sell the product to a certain retailer first and they'll let them have it for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and then they open it to the mass market. So right now it's only available on Tarte and on Ulta, but I want to say that Sephora is probably going to get it because there's no way that you're going to have a wonderful palette like this one and not share it with the market like Sephora. So definitely if you have one, you don't need the other. If you rushed out and you got this one, I'll feel bad for you because I want to say my own humble opinion is this one is a lot better than that one. It gives you a lot more choices, you know what I mean? Because of the simple fact that those 3 like creamy metallic shadows are in there, you have so many possible other alternative options that you can do. I think my only gripe with this palette is, well, I have 2. I have 2 gripes. My first gripe is that this doesn't open flat. I hate that. I hate when palettes force you to stay open like this. I understand that it's good in case you want to do your makeup so it stays open, but for me, when I'm doing my makeup, I like it to lay flat. I like it to lay flat because I need the space. Another reason why I like it is because I have to do this instead of doing this because it's like, you know, it's just awkward. So I have to show you the palette backwards. And then my last gripe about the palette is probably the last 3 shades. This one here is considered an aubergine, like a really dark, dark, dark plum. It's not. It's the color that's on my lid. You know what I mean? And then these 2 here are described as black, brown, and what's the other shade? A black brown and a dark brown. I don't know about that. I mean, were these 2 really necessary in the palette? I would say no, but here is where Tarte thought about everything. For me, I don't like to have 2 almost black shadows in this palette, but because it has 2 almost black, a warm one right here and a cool one, this palette is universal for the cool tone and the warm tone person. So if you were going for the Tartelette, you want an all matte, keep in mind that it is a more cool palette. But if you were going for the Tartelette in Bloom, even though it looks like a warmer palette, you have that cool toned blackish brown that's going to give you the cool smoky eye. You also have this taupe. These 2 taupes that are right here, you have this matte taupe and then the shimmering taupe. So these are, look at what I did to my palette. I'm sorry, I just maimed her. You have the possibility to make cool eye looks with this one. And although you can also do warm looks with this one, I feel like the warm looks tend to get muddy with this palette. There's only so much you can do without it getting muddy, blending all together and turning muddy. And look at the pigment. I just wiped off my fingers and it stained my fingers just in a couple of seconds that I had the swatches on my fingers. So obviously this video is turning into a I love the In Bloom, and I'm not so crazy about the classic Tartelette palette. But you guys, if you were on the fence between this one and this one, my humble opinion is to go with this one because you obviously have more options with those 3 luster shadows. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let us know your thoughts on these palettes in the comment section below. Maybe I forgot to mention something, or you have a really good suggestion or opinion about the palettes. So let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you guys are interested in a tutorial on this look, I already filmed it. It will probably go up tomorrow, or if you're seeing this video sometime in the future, I will have it linked in the description box below. My brain is not all there, you guys. You guys know how I film late. Anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, if you found this video useful, entertaining, or learned something, please give me a thumbs up or subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, this coffee break is over.